Everybody's talking about Social Security. Everybody wants to know, is Social Security going to be around for when I need it most? Well, today we're going to talk about a potential increase of $17,400. We're also going to talk about the potential that we see a double tax elimination, which would increase your benefits. That's something that is looking more and more likely very soon, and we're going to address that today as well. And the first thing, I want to talk about the cost of living adjustment for Social Security in 2024. And the reason why is because this morning, yes, this morning on August 10th, 2023, we learned that we now have inflation at 3.2%, which means that it went up. It went up by 0.2% year over year, which also means we are going to see a little bit more for Social Security recipients for their cost of living adjustment in 2024. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. All I ask is if you enjoy these daily updates on Social Security, on our economy, and on Congress, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. Now, let's start off with the cost of living adjustment. Then we're going to dive into what Representative Thomas Massey is asking for, and then we will talk about a potential increase, or as some are saying, cuts of $17,400 per year. So let's get right down to it. Look at this. Right here. Here you go. Social Security's cost of living adjustment could be only 3%. Will that be enough? Here's the thing. 3%, if we are seeing 2% inflation, is fine. But 3% when real inflation for the things that people on Social Security buy makes absolutely no sense. Because right now, food is more expensive, energy is more expensive, and the medical services, again, are getting more expensive as well. These are things that the elderly, people on Social Security, actually purchase. So why are we using other things that they do not need, do not want? Like airfare, right? Why do we care about some transportation, new and used auto prices? Makes no sense. So, as of right now, the cost of living adjustment is going to be right about 3%. And why do I bring this up? Well, I bring it up because of this. Within the next 10 years, okay, by 2033, what we are going to see is we are going to see people lose benefits. What we're hearing right now is that if you are against some type of Social Security reform, whether it's increasing benefits or a slight decrease, then technically you're actually open to a decrease. Because what's going to happen by 2033 is we're going to see people lose about 22 to 23% of their benefits. Okay, look at this. So right here, it says you're going to lose about $17,400 in cuts. This is in 2033. But if we scroll down here, okay, it says it estimates that a typical newly retired dual income couple would see a drop of about $17,400. This comes out to about $1,450 per month. But couples who earn more in their careers could see about a $23,000 benefit cut, and couples with lower earnings would see about $10,600 less. That's a lot of money. Okay, $10,600. Again, it's not $1,000 a month, but it's pretty close to it. That would be devastating. Now, I've been talking about the cost of living adjustment, how we could potentially see an increase there about 3%. That's good. That's somewhat decent. Now, we just addressed the potential cut in the next 10 years of maybe $10,600 or up to $23,000 per year. That's substantial. But that is in 10 years. What I want to talk about right now is I want to talk about this elimination of a double taxation. Look at this. So right here it says Representative Thomas Massey reintroduces bill to eliminate Social Security double tax. This actually came on May 12th, 2023. Now, why am I talking about it right now? This is August 10th. Why would I address it now? The reason why I'm addressing it right now is because there is actually discussions, active discussions about this exact proposal, about this bill, okay? But I want to read this to you. It says right here, okay, Although seniors have already paid tax on their Social Security contributions via the payroll tax, they are still required to list these benefits as taxable income on their tax returns. It says, this is simply a way for Congress to obtain more revenue for the federal government at the expense of seniors who have already paid into Social Security. My bill would exempt Social Security retirement benefits from taxation and boost the retirement income of millions of older Americans. That's what he said. Now, I want to read you a couple more. I want to read you what Representative Daniel Webster had to say. Look at this. Daniel Webster said this. It says, for decades, seniors have paid into Social Security with their tax dollars. Now, when many seniors are on a fixed income and struggling financially, they are being double taxed because of income taxes on their Social Security benefits. This is wrong, and I'm pleased to once again co-sponsor this legislation to repeal this tax. There's a lot of lawmakers that are against this. Okay, a lot of lawmakers. Now, one thing I can tell you is that we are going to see changes. We're going to see some major changes when it comes to Social Security. Are we going to see an increase of $2,400? Probably not. Will we see a slight increase because of the cost of living adjustment? Yes. This is absolutely going to happen. This is guaranteed it's going to happen. This is part of the law. We are going to see about a 3% increase, which is going to come out on average of about $53 per month. So a little over $600 per year. Not a lot, but it's something. Now, I want to play you this video, okay? I'm going to play you this video. I actually sped up this video as well, and I will give commentary on it also. But look at this, okay? This is from Chairman Whitehouse. Look at this.
Since the start of this Congress, my distinguished ranking member and many of the Republican members of this committee have insisted we should focus only on rising debt and deficits. Because of what they portend for debt and deficits, I have looked at the enormous, well-documented costs and economic risks associated with climate change. These risks to our economy are deadly serious. But we have also held hearings on common-sense proposals to reduce debt and deficit with raised revenue from large corporations and wealthy individuals who too often skate in our rigged system.
So right here, he's simply talking about the wealthy individuals, talking about how we could actually go and tax them, and that could pay for other things. This interview right here, this budget committee, okay, this is trying to figure out if we can, do more for Social Security, do more for even Medicare without cutting benefits. Because that's the worry right now, is how can we do more without actually cutting benefits? So let's get back to it.
Today, I welcome a conversation with Republican colleagues about how to protect Social Security, which, according to CBO, along with Medicare, will make up more than half of spending growth over the next decade. With Social Security and Medicare accounting for so much future spending growth, you cannot have a serious conversation about our nation's fiscal situation if you only focus on non-defense discretionary spending.
So that right there is true. We cannot only talk about non-defense discretionary spending when Social Security and Medicare are the largest expense. That is a huge issue. That's one of the reasons why I believe more people are now discussing it, because they're trying to figure out how can we fix our budget? How can we actually do something about it without making changes to Social Security, without making changes to Medicare, without making changes to defense spending? Well, let's listen in.
Which represents less than 15% of total federal spending. Without new revenue, Social Security will only cover 80% of its projected benefits by 2035. That's only 12 years away. This hearing will therefore examine how to close that revenue gap to preserve the promise of Social Security for our kids and grandkids, working adults, and current retirees who will still be alive in 2035. Our promise to them is one we must not break.
One thing I just want to add right here is there's estimates today that state there's 10,000 baby boomers per day that are actually claiming Social Security benefits. So as of right now, 10,000 new Social Security recipients are coming into the system collecting benefits. This is why we're going to see the Social Security Trust run out of money sooner rather than later.
Social Security is the bedrock of retirement security and the nation's most effective anti-poverty program. It's a lifeline for millions of seniors, their children, and people with disabilities. In February of this year, that lifeline reached 20% of the entire U.S. population. Almost every senior in this country will receive payments from Social Security, benefits they have earned that let them retire in dignity. One of my constituents, Robert of Pawtucket, said, "I rely on my Social Security as my only source of income. I find it impossible to continue to live independently if Social Security were changed, reduced, or eliminated. Social Security benefits were a contract between the federal government and its citizens."
Now, I want to add one other thing to that. He is talking to one of his constituents, and they said that that is their sole income. That is not the only person in the United States that they rely 100% on Social Security benefits. There are millions and millions of people out there that rely on Social Security benefits for the majority of their income or their entire income. And without that, they'd have nothing. So, and I've asked this to people here on this channel before, is if you are making, let's say, $1,000 a month, and the reason I use $1,000 a month is because it's simple math, right? But if you have $1,000 per month, that covers all your bills. Guess what? In 2033, when we see a reduction of 22 to 23%, that means instead of $1,000, you're going to get about $770 to $780 every single month. Now, who could live off of that? Who could live off of a cut to your income of 23%? Probably nobody.
Antonella of North Providence said, "I would be very sad and depressed if there were any cuts to Social Security. I'd just get by as it is." And Laurel, also of Pawtucket, said that without Social Security, she would have to go back to work and probably have to work until I die. For years, Republicans proposed slashing Social Security benefits, letting Wall Street gamble with seniors' retirement, or even sunsetting Social Security altogether. Then, at the State of the Union, President Biden received a bipartisan standing ovation from Republicans and Democrats alike when he proclaimed that cutting Social Security and Medicare was off the table. As he said that night, we got unanimity. So, this hearing proceeds under the premise that Republicans want to extend Social Security solvency and will stand by their commitment not to cut benefits. That, of course, leaves only one option: raising revenue. Fortunately, there are win-win common sense solutions that would both extend Social Security solvency indefinitely without benefit cuts, while also making our rigged tax system fairer.
I did want to add one other thing. According to recent reports, in this interview or this budget committee meeting, this was actually done about 4 weeks ago. Okay, so just keep in mind that what he's saying is true, but what he's also saying is, how do we eliminate cuts, but also we have to increase revenue. Now, one thing that we've seen in recent reports is that, and I don't think he addressed it here, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't, but is we have to see some type of cut eventually, and we do need to see increases to revenue. Increase to revenue is one thing that is an absolute must to ensure that we don't become insolvent within the next 10 years. But the second part is we have to make a cut eventually. And this is where some are saying that instead of a full retirement age of 67, which it is right now, we need to increase that to potentially age 69 or age 70. Now, what you need to keep in mind is that's not going to play any impact to Social Security becoming insolvent within the next 10 years. Because what they're considering is people that are in their teens, their 20s, maybe even their early 30s, those are the people, and that includes me as well, those are the people that would see their Social Security full retirement age increase maybe 2 or 3 years. So in essence, we're not going to see changes to that for potentially another 30 years. So big changes there, but we'll see what else he has to say.
Right now, the cap on Social Security contributions means a tech exec making $1 million effectively stops paying into the program at the end of February, while a school teacher making far less contributes their share through every single paycheck all year. That's not fair, and my Medicare and Social Security Fair Share Act would fix that by requiring contributions to Social Security on wages above $400,000. People living...
Just to give you a quick little heads up, I know we've talked about before, but for those that are wondering why he would only tax people over $400,000 per year, is because that is what President Biden said. That's President Biden's promise. He said this when he was running for president, that nobody making less than $400,000 per year would see a penny more in taxes. And he's sticking by that. That's why Representative Whitehouse right here is telling us his proposal starts at $400,000 per year and goes up from there.
Off income from their wealth make no Social Security contributions. That's not fair either, and my bill would also fix that. Those making more than $400,000 in investment income would contribute just like those who are earning wages. And right now, some wealthy owners of pass-through businesses like hedge funds and private equity firms avoid paying Medicare taxes entirely on much of their income. My bill would close this loophole. These reforms raise enough revenue to make Social Security solvent indefinitely, according to a new estimate from the Social Security actuary, Mr. Steve Goss, who is our lead witness here today. Further, that legislation would extend Medicare solvency by 20 years. We can protect Social Security for all without cutting benefits, and we get to end unfair tax dodges that let those at the top play by a different set of rules than everyone else.
I want to jump back in here really quick. He talked about extending Social Security solvency for 20 years, and he said we can do that without making cuts. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We can extend the solvency for a short period of time, like 20 years, but what we can't do is we can't extend the solvency till 2097 like they want to do, simply because that would include increasing revenue and also some cuts. All right, so keep that in mind. Those two things, according to recent studies, have to happen. Now, I'm not saying I'm for cuts, but we got to keep in mind, how are we going to extend this clear until 2097 or potentially further than that?
Now, we could do even better and actually strengthen benefits, and I'm an original co-sponsor of Senators Sanders and Warren's Social Security Expansion Act, which would expand benefits by $2,400 each year while fully funding the program indefinitely. I welcome the bipartisan commitment not to cut Social Security, but it's not rock solid. MAGA Speaker McCarthy wanted Social Security cuts during debt ceiling negotiations and has pledged to explore them. The House Republican Study Committee released a plan to cut Social Security by $718 billion over.
And so I'm going to jump in again right there. He's talking about how some Republicans were pushing to see Social Security cut, see benefits reduced. But this was in the debt ceiling negotiations. Don't worry, that's already been discussed, negotiated, and passed. We're good there. But does it mean they're going to come back in the future? There's a chance. So this is why we try to stay updated on this stuff, because as of right now, there are some Republicans that are still pushing for what Democrats are calling cuts, but Republicans are calling these just reductions. Are they the same thing? Yeah, essentially yes, right? But they lawmakers, they use different words, right? Meaning different things. Who knows?
For 10 years. The plan would also raise the retirement age to 69, which would effectively cut benefits by 13% every year and especially harm low-income workers. Raise revenue or cut benefits. These are the only two options. If Republicans stand by their commitment not to cut benefits, they must safeguard Social Security solvency by raising revenue.
So, we're going to stop there. So if Republicans and Democrats are all for not seeing cuts, then their next option is we have to raise revenue, right? And let me just finish off with one thing. We have to raise revenue. We have to either decrease spending elsewhere, take some of that money and redistribute it to Social Security. We have to increase our Social Security tax cap. We have to increase our Social Security income tax percentage, right? Again, there's so many different options here. Go after the wealthy, not tax the lower income households. But again, this is part of the discussion, right? We have to come up with some way to fix Social Security. But the big one, and the one that's going to really impact the American people the soonest, is this one right here. Okay? Eliminate the Social Security double tax. This right here would give people an increase immediately. But what it won't do is this will not increase revenue. That's the reason why some people are against this, especially 1 year before the presidential election. So, as soon as we get more information as to what is going on regarding Social Security, how it could potentially impact you and your wallet and your future, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates. All you gotta do, two things. First off, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Also, click that subscribe button so you never miss an update. And I will see you guys on the next one.